This is Kate.
This is Nicole.
And this is One Moment, Please. We're going to start this off with some chit chat, but Nicole and I have been talking for probably the last hour.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to fill everybody in real quick on my weekend. I had 2 events, and both of them were hard, and the power went out at one of them. So it was just crazy. It was a weird weekend.
Was it storming?
Mm-hmm. It was in Little Rock.
Oh, okay.
And they just had that massive tornado go through and rip up part of it. But it was at the Clinton Library.
Oh, I saw your Instagram. It was beautiful.
It's gorgeous, but okay, guys, at the Clinton Library, why are we not having incredible backup power?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was shocking.
Interesting. Okay, first of all, we gotta say happy birthday, Kate. It's your birthday today.
Thank you, Nicole. 29. 29. Wait, so that means in 30 days it's your birthday.
Yes.
In 6 days, I'll be able to see you in real life.
I know.
That's fun.
We're doing a fun vacation. It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait.
It's gonna be fun, but it's also work in a way.
Of course.
But it'll be great. I'm excited. I don't have to play mom for a second.
Yeah.
But I will miss that. I don't know if you feel that way.
Oh, all the time.
But I'm I need a break.
Yeah. You experience things and you're like, oh, I gotta bring Milo back here. I gotta have him experience.
Yes.
Yeah. You're 100% gonna feel that, but also all of the things we're gonna do would be so much longer and take more time with children. So we're going to just maximize all the fun.
Our podcast today is a very vulnerable podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
We know Mother's Day is coming up, and we know a lot of our listeners are mothers.
Mm-hmm.
So Nicole and I just kind of wanted to chat about how motherhood and being an entrepreneur goes. So this is going to be a very candid conversation.
Yes. We thought about creating an outline and kind of figuring out a plan, but then as I was thinking, I was like, okay, no, then I'm just not gonna it just became too overwhelming to try and think of an outline. So This is gonna be very chit chat, very I'm gonna be talking about our moms, motherhood, all of that stuff. So disclaimer, if that is triggering for you in any way or not something that you want to listen to, can listen to, then this is your permission to leave if that's necessary. And if it doesn't apply to you, then you're welcome to listen. But we're just going to be sharing a little bit about our motherhood journeys and entrepreneurship and how balance is not the right word, but
how we make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no right word. I don't even know. Can I start off with who my child is?
Yeah.
So I have a 4-year-old. He just turned 4 in March. His name is Alan, and he is named after my husband's stepfather and father, Alan Benjamin. And he is the best thing in the world. I wish I could share a video of this morning. He brought his guitar. It's a ukulele with only 3 strings instead of 4.
Yeah.
And wanted to listen to Poco Loco from Coco and played along and sang with it. And it just it was the best. It was the best way to start my birthday.
Oh, I love it.
So tell us about Milo.
Milo is 8. He is so fun. He's just kind of come into his own in this 7-8-year-old age. He's goofy and silly, and he loves to cuddle. He's very much a physical touch kid. All up until, honestly, I realized all up until this last year, he would rub ears, rub my ear. Anytime he's near me, he's rubbing someone's ear. He would do that to his cousins too. They'd be like, stop touching me. But that's just him. He just loves touch and cuddling, and he's such a sweet boy. And he's super into Minecraft right now and Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So he's just become this little boy now. He's not he's a kid now, not a little boy anymore. So
it's hurtful.
Sad.
Yeah,
it is, because it's just, he's not my little baby. He'll always be my baby, but He's just growing up. So that's
Like,
just a
you sent me that picture with him in his hat. I swear, Nicole, he looked like he was like 12, 13,
I
14.
know.
Ugh.
It's so sad.
Like, I put my kid in shorts this morning and like his hair is all kind of like swooshed over like a little surfer. And I'm
Yeah.
like, when did you get so big?
Big. It happens so quickly. Everyone says it, and it's true, unfortunately.
So, Milo was how old whenever you started entrepreneurship?
He was,
He was 6, right?
yeah, I was just gonna say 6, but I was like trying to calculate in my head. Yeah, 6.
Almost
So,
7, but because you started in
mm-hmm.
March, right?
Technically, my first event was March. So, yeah, but I like did LLC, all that stuff, ordered the booth January, like 2022, like very much start of the year. Like this is my year kind of thing.
And
Um,
it was your year.
yeah, sure was. So I don't even know. Like this is such a hard topic because it requires vulnerability and that's freaking scary.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Because
think
there's
like,
like nothing like being a mom is like my biggest and will forever be like my biggest accomplishment and like being his mom is
I'm
just the
gonna cry
best.
already
I know. I'm like this is this is
because
why it's
I feel it. Like, oh my
mhm.
gosh.
Mhm.
Like even working, like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go to work. I want to be with
Mhm.
him.
Yeah.
So,
And it was a lot of like that feeling and like knowledge and goal really of like I want to spend every waking moment with this human was the real way that I stumbled upon this business was because I wanted to figure out the best way to maximize my time and the idea of like being a 9 to 5 like I was in that too like I worked a 9 to 5 job and Milo was in preschool and then after preschool there was activities like he did karate and then the job that I had also required like volunteering and nights and so like weekend stuff and so I never spent time with him and I hated it like I couldn't do it anymore um, and then my husband at the time was traveling for work and so it was very much like sole responsibility to parent on me and so I'm trying to work and raise this kid and like do all the things and it was too much and so um, yeah I guess I'm telling my story now
that's
but
good. That's good. I love it, Nicole. It's relatable for
yeah
some.
yeah so anyways like cut to husband and I separated and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to repeat that, right? Like, I don't want to go back to not spending any time with him because, like, he's all I had at that moment in time.
Absolutely.
Like, he's all I had. And so, looked into all the options and then landed on, photo booths. And so now, like, there are definite hard seasons I think with the photo booth industry with being a single parent and running your own business. There's so many difficulties and I don't want anyone to think that I'm like ever saying it's easy. But it's helped me. Like I think about it all the time. I was like, this is so cool. I get to pick up my kid from school every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I get to be in charge of my schedule. And if my son is sick, I don't have to put in PTO or like thankfully a lot of jobs now allow like, unlimited PTO and stuff, but like the process of like having to call in, get someone to cover you, get permission from your boss to go on your kid's field trip, like all of those things I can now do because I run, my own business. And so I think it's freaking cool. Like it's so cool that I get to do this.
And like that was all of the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I agree. It's been it's been a whole learning curve too because I never wanted to work, period.
Mm-hmm.
Um like ever. Went to college but never had any intention of working. I went to school to get my MRS degree, if you know, like a Mrs. degree.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
No,
Which
that's so funny because that's I was a stay-at-home mom too, and that's what I thought was gonna be it for me
I mean,
too.
yeah.
Like, there were years. Yeah.
Um, and I'll never forget Alan being 9 months old, and I was like, I'm tired. Like, as much as I want to stay home with him all the time, like, wow, how heavy is that to just have to be a mom? Like, I know our mom's 24/7, but just like only you.
Oh, yeah.
Um, that was hard because like my husband would get home from work and I'd be like, here's the kid, I need a
I
break.
need a break.
And
Yeah.
it wasn't like that because he also needed a break because he was at work too.
Mhm.
Um,
It's just it's a different to be needed in that way is it's a lot.
yeah.
Add
Um,
on to, like, postpartum, like,
I
postpartum
yeah,
depression,
I
yeah, like,
100% had that.
yeah,
Undiagnosed. Like Alan turned 3 and
yeah,
I was like, "Oh, I had that
yeah,
100%."
me too.
Um, were you diagnosed or did you like just realize?
No, it was, yeah, post as well, but I looked at my life that first year, and I'm like, "Oh, wow, yeah,
Yeah.
mhm." Yeah, I'm
Uh,
like, that's I feel sad for Nicole,
Me too.
2015 year, Nicole, because so lonely, so, yeah, very
Like
sad.
I think about that all the time. Like, wow, that first year could have been so much better if I just would have been honest and said, yes, I have depression. But I thought I had to be strong. I don't have, postpartum depression. I also didn't
Mhm,
want to take pills because I did want to breastfeed. And I was so
mhm.
afraid of like everything. And as a new parent, you don't know what you're doing. And,
Yeah,
and I don't even think I knew what postpartum depression felt like. I just knew that I was kind of like angry,
mhm.
exhausted. Um,
Mhm. And there's so many pressures as a new mom
you have
to
to breastfeed. If you don't breastfeed, then you're, not bad, but people still like, oh, you should still try. You know what I mean? It's never,
yeah,
let's try a bottle
yeah.
first. It's always, why don't you try this first?
And then you gotta lose weight quickly because God forbid you look like you're pregnant when you're 3 months postpartum, like,
Oh, yeah.
uh, I don't
You
know.
have to smile. Like, you have to be happy
Yeah.
that you have this newborn. Um, but it was definitely probably one of the most lonely
Mhm.
years of my life. And that's what led me back to work is I was like, I'm lonely. I love my child more than anything, but I'm lonely. Like I need
Mhm.
interaction
Yeah.
outside of my child. And now that I'm where I'm at now, I'm like, I wish so bad I could go back to that, knowing everything that I know now.
Mhm.
Because work is a lot like this. Yes, we make our own schedules. We have this freedom, but we are still tied in a way to our jobs because it's our job now to ensure that we
Mhm.
get paid. I don't work a 9 to 5 and I can half a it to get a
Yeah.
paycheck. I have to,
Yeah.
if I want this paycheck, I got to work.
Right.
So there's so many pressures with that now of being an entrepreneur and a mom.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you feel that way, but I
Oh,
totally feel that
100%.
way.
Oh, 100%. Like, June is looking real slim.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking now, okay, well, I got to put food on the table. How are we going to make this work? Like, what can we do to get more clients and get more events? And okay, I got to hustle now. Like,
And
and
and even that is stressful because you're like, okay, well, if I have to hustle, how am I going to spend time with my kid? Like, how
exactly,
can
it's
I do
summer break.
both?
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's no easy answer. And I think if you are a mom, maybe listening to this thinking like, okay, maybe this can be a great side hustle. I think it definitely could be.
Hmm.
Um, you also have to like, okay, so for me, for example, you have to pretty much give away your weekends and be okay with that.
Yeah.
Um, what that cost is then if Milo is starting to have interest in soccer,
Oh,
and
I
so I'm looking
love
into
that.
soccer programs. But I understand that soccer programs and soccer games mean that Saturdays, Sundays, whatever, like practice happens during the week probably, and then games are probably on Saturdays. Well, so are my events. So what does that look like? Either like he can't do that one thing, which is I want more than anything for him to be able to play something he enjoys, right?
Hmm.
or it's work. And sometimes I don't even have, like, sometimes I have to send him to my parents for the weekend because I'm doing multiple events and, like, right? Or
And that's heavy.
it's so heavy. And how I haven't even navigated that yet. I haven't even allowed myself to think that yet because, like, there's a lot to process. So definitely understand that if you have kids that are heavily in sports, heavily in activities, like on weekends, the cost is, are you okay if you're not there? And if the answer is no, then maybe this won't be the right thing for you. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm actually in the same boat. Like, he is so good at baseball or t-ball right now, and
Yeah.
we keep missing sign up because we're so busy. Like, we're like,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, we're just busy, and oh, we'll do it eventually. Um, but that's not fair. That's not
Mhm.
fair to my child. Like, that's where I'm at. So I'm I'm working on figuring out a schedule, like maybe
Mhm.
like a 3-day week schedule or 4-day week schedule, because I do have to give up my weekends. So
Yeah.
how can I figure out how to give my son the time that he needs as well as activities that he's interested in, while also supporting our family?
Mhm.
Um, I don't know what that looks like yet. I
Mhm.
don't know. And thankfully, like, my in-laws keep him most weekends, and he has the best relationship with them, and it's so,
Yeah.
like, that's a second home for him,
Yeah.
which makes me incredibly happy. But it's not their job to raise my son. So I feel a lot of guilt about that too.
Yeah, that mom guilt is tough. It's a tough thing to navigate because you can say, like, you're doing the best job ever, and you can have people rallying behind you saying, "Oh my gosh, you're killing it. Like, you're doing such a great job. You're such a great mom." But that doesn't, like, take away from how you feel and how you perceive. And I think there's such a we want the best for our children, and at the end of the day, that's what matters most to us. And we also have to provide for them. It's the biggest, and I'm like, it's like not balance. It's like it's give and take. It's
Yeah.
constant give and take. And what that looks like is, if I can't spend time with him on the weekends and he's at school during the week, then that means, okay, when he gets back from school, 3 o'clock, 3:30, I gotta focus on being with my kid, and that means, like, I'm still navigating, honestly. This is something I'm still very much, like, processing and navigating now, but, like, 3:30 to bedtime, like, I'm trying to be more attentive to him, his needs, whether that's going to the park or going to the beach, or doing something that he enjoys doing, and have dinner together, sit down at
Mhm.
the table together. Honestly, it doesn't happen all the time. And sometimes I do have to work or take client calls or respond to emails and things like that. But those are the things that I'm trying to do to kind of feed that mother son relationship and be a good mom and be a good parent if I can't be with him on the weekend.
It's it hurts our heart, or like, it hurts my heart because I can tell that it hurts my son, because
Mm-hmm.
on weekends he's like, "Are you working?" Like, he's at that age now where he's like, "Are you leaving?" Or he'll go to his
Mm-hmm.
Gigi's house and he's like, "Are you gonna come get me? Like, are you coming to get me tonight?" And so it's ugh. It's like, it's pulls at your heartstrings, but what do you do? Like, and it is like, literally, which one do you pick? Because in our minds we're like, okay, well, we have to make money. We have to put food on the table. We have to do that. Okay, but our kids are going to end up in therapy one day because they are going to feel like my mom wasn't there for me at my soccer game and stuff like that. And, like, I had a mom like that. She wasn't there for anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I resent her a lot for that. So I don't want my child to feel that too. So there's so much that goes, like, there's so much in our brains, and mom guilt is so real.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I have to commend you because, like, just knowing, like, the brief kind of history and of your life and your experience with your mom, like, I know I just said that you can say it all the time, but, like, seriously, like, you are doing such a good job. And I do want to commend you for being a great, wonderful example of a good mom for your son, and for not repeating that generational, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
because it could be easy to just get in your head of like, okay, this is how my mom parented me, like this must be what I'm gonna do too. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah.
not repeating that. You are starting a new setting a new example for your son of what it's like to be a parent, what it's like to have a mom that cares and loves and adores him. And I just want to say kudos to you, because it's not easy, like, to not have a good example of a mom in your life and then to be that example and kind of figure it out as you go. Like, that's huge. Like, did you have motherhood figures in your life that you were able to kind of draw from?
My grandmother and my grandfather basically
Yeah.
raised me for the first 7 years of my life. And she's wonderful. Like, oh my gosh, my grandmother's probably my best friend, like would call her mom.
Mm,
And my husband's mom is another wonderful example. Like she's just a good mom.
mm-hmm.
So thankfully I have those. And it took a lot of therapy. Like I'm
Yeah.
a huge advocate for therapy. Go to therapy, you guys. I
Yeah.
knew I didn't want to live the way that my mom raised me. And which is still I still struggle with it because whenever you are raised like that in such like a I mean, I'll just be blatant, like in a traumatic household, you still parent like that sometimes and it's not on purpose
Right.
and you have to step back because you're like, whoa, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
hurt my kid. And I mean, I've had those moments where I'm like, I know that I just hurt my child. I know that I did the opposite of what I wanted to do. So, like, if you're a mom who feels that way, it's
You're
okay.
not alone. Yeah.
I always try to like go and talk to my son afterwards. And I'm like, I'm sorry that I did that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry I said that. Do you want a hug?
Mm-hmm.
Get down on their actual level and talk to them because I do like he deserves an apology when mom acts
Yeah.
like that.
But I think, like, just that in and of itself, though, is not the example that was set for you. You know what I'm saying? To be able to say sorry and to um, apologize is a huge, huge step in the right direction.
My parents never apologized.
Oh yeah,
I mean, but your parents, my parents, like they were raised in a completely different
generation and
generation.
yeah.
It's children are to be seen and not heard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like you and I have tried to cultivate that relationship with our sons of please tell me when I hurt your feelings
Mm-hmm.
and you're valid in your feelings. Like that's the hardest thing is sometimes our kids feel like, oh, mom got mad because I threw a fit. No, like
Yeah.
you're valid and you're feel. First of all, you're 4 and you're 8. Like you don't know these feelings that
Yeah.
you're feeling. So it's still hard. Like I know we're kind of going off the tangent of motherhood and business, but just motherhood in general. There's no rule book. You're not given a
Right.
rule book when you leave that hospital.
Right.
Wish we
Exactly.
were. That would be great.
Yeah. So you want to hear something that's soul crushing?
Oh,
Milo, uh, it was a couple months ago, but he uh, basically said, "Mom, do you love work more than me?"
oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So instant tears, right? Because obviously the answer is no. Like, so I wanted to share that vulnerably because I was able to kind of just talk to him about the value of the business and what it being able to do this job provides for both of us as a family, and kind of get him on the same page of like why mom works as hard as she does, and communicate on, okay, well, obviously some needs are not being met here, like how can I um spend more time with you, or like what do you need from me so that you can understand that mommy loves you way more than she will ever love any kind of job. um
And I bet that is like a weird transition, Nicole, because
oh, totally.
you were with him every day, right? Like y'all
Yeah.
traveled. It was you and
Mhm.
him.
Mhm.
So going from that to working,
Mhm.
like his little mind is probably, it is probably confused. Like,
Yeah.
and it's great that you've called, like said, this is what it is. This is what's going on.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
and
think
I
including him in some of the aspects of the booth has helped too, to understand it, because because now he says, when asked, like, what do you want to be when you what do you want to do when you grow up? He's like, well, I'm going to work with Own the Moment booth. Like, it's very much like matter of fact, like that's what he's going to do, which is so cute. So it's like, okay, he's understanding it, and I try to, if he is going off for the weekend to, like, someone's watching him for the weekend because I have events or something, like, that it's super fun and exciting, um, and something he looks forward to, and not something that he thinks anything less of. I don't know.
I know, like saying, hey, you have to go stay with them because I'm working.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like that's kind of how we are with Alan. It's like, you're going to Gigi's house this weekend, and it's an exciting thing. He's like, yes,
Yeah,
I get to play with my little boats and their little pool. Like it's an exciting
yeah,
experience. It's not, we're dumping you off because I have to go work.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, like it has helped having attendance. Like
Mhm.
that has helped us have more time with him. Um, but there's still always that guilt. Like I'm jealous that you get to go pick him up at 3 o'clock. So
Mm.
I would love to start doing that.
I think I also think that we are going to be the very first ones to criticize ourselves and our parenting.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
want to
kind
just
of.
put that I want to put that out there, because it's like, we can list all of the negative things about being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, and balancing being a mother, like, because it's something that it's it's such a close topic, to our hearts, because we want more than anything to be good moms. And what that definition is for us is also very different. Like,
Yeah.
what someone can perceive as what a good mom is could be very different to what I perceive as what a good mom is, right? Like,
Everybody's different.
yeah. And so I think to also have that understanding that, like,
You're doing the best you can.
you're doing the best you can, and many days that's good enough, and that's great, and that's awesome, and you're a good mom. And I think the more we can tell other moms that they're doing a great job and they're being good moms, is like, I think we should do more of that.
I feel if you are like, fill your kid's cup, put food on the table, and
Yeah.
love them,
Yeah.
and cultivate an open relationship. Like
Mhm.
that's there you go. You're going to be a good mom if you can do that much.
Yeah.
Um, your kid's not going to hate you unless you completely just throw them wayside.
And neglect their needs, yeah, in a way. So, whatever way you can know your kid well enough to know what their needs are, and fill it the best you can, and um, include them in your business, include them in discussion of, like, what do you think about this? Like, do you like this? Is this cool? Like, Milo loves to help me test for events, and so we'll do that together. That's exciting for him. And um, so, yeah, including him in some little things is something that I want to continue to do. And
We we do
mhm,
that. We take him with us to set up sometimes. If it's appropriate. Like there's some
sure.
places that, you can't, but thankfully we do live in a place where vendors are, they're very welcoming of him coming and helping. Now, sometimes he runs around, he's 4 years old, so I'm like, you gotta chill out, chill out.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think having him there has helped because he's able to see what we do. We do,
Hmm.
like, every time we test it, we'll take pictures with him.
Yes.
And like, it's simple, but I think that he enjoys just being with us. I think kids just enjoy being with their parents. They just
Oh,
want to
yeah, of
be there
course.
with you.
Hmm.
So just finding a way to do that might be a great place to start if you feel that you are lacking. I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's something that we did because I was like, okay, he's sad that we're going to work. Like he
Yeah.
needs something.
Mm-hmm.
But
So that's why, like, I think having community and having people around you, either literal in your literal space, like to help you watch the kids, to help you um, have a break if you need to, like this trip that you're coming next week, and
yeah,
we're going on a like a little vacation fun trip. It is the first one I've ever taken by
alone?
myself. Yeah,
Me
absolutely.
too.
First
No,
one.
no, I'm lying to you because I went for my sister's bachelorette party. But that was
Yeah.
yeah, to actually
No.
Disney World, to Orlando.
Yeah, yeah. So it's my first time, and it's because it just, I didn't have the community at the time to, like, the friendships at the time to do that with, or it wasn't the right timing, or like anytime I didn't have like any spare time, it was spent with the family. So it's just like, this is the first time. So I'm very excited.
I'm excited
But
and like I'm like "Ah, I'm gonna miss him. Like a
yeah.
huge part of me, Nicole, is like I don't. It's not that I don't want to come, but it's like I don't want to leave my kid. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm doing him a disservice by leaving him, and I know that's
Mm,
silly, and I know that's not true. Um, I think it's just the mom guilt. It's the mom
mm-hmm,
brain,
for sure.
but I am excited. Like,
Yeah.
how can
I
it be
think
both?
it's just being a mom is like, yeah, you don't want them to miss out on things, but also like it's important to, I'm like recognizing this now. It's important for you to be, take care of yourself. It's like, in airplanes, you have to get the oxygen mask for yourself before you can put it on your children. And it's because you're not any help if you pass out, because then this child doesn't have, what they need to. So
Oh,
if
that
there's
was a
anything
great
I've learned,
analogy.
if there's anything I've learned this year, it's, because like the number one thing you do, right, when you're a parent is you neglect yourself, your focus and attention, everything is on your child. Everything. They're your world, they're your heart out of your body, walking around in
Literally.
the world. Literally, it's the scariest experience. And
Like even
it's
going to
your,
school. Like I know you're
yes,
scared about that. Like
terrified, like I'm still scared, like it's still something I deal with, right? Um but I'm recognizing now, if I don't prioritize my mental health, I am no good to him, right? I can't, if I'm not here mentally, okay, if I can't, if I can't take care of myself, what example is that setting for him? And then also, I can't be the mother that I know he deserves me to be. So taking care of yourself, whether that's taking 20 minutes and getting a cup of coffee and do whatever it is that like brings you joy and brings you centered and gets you back in a right mental state, like do that. Like last month for me, last month for me, I was in a hard spot, and it looked like I kind of, I've learned about myself now to know, okay, if I'm in a down state, I need to get outside, get in the sun, get in fresh air, like be outdoors and move my body a little bit in some way. And so I'm lucky enough to be like super close to the beach. And so I went to the beach and walked for a little bit, was in the sun, by the water, and it was just exactly what I needed to kind of refresh my brain, refresh my perspective, um, and just be okay personally. Because I knew if I wasn't okay, that was going to bleed into my life for the rest of the day. Like if I didn't prioritize like getting my mind straight in that moment, I knew he would be affected when I picked him up from school. Like he would see mom sad, he would see mom's not okay. Like, and little kids and their little brains, they don't know how to fix the situation. They don't know, it's a lot. So
yep.
um And so it's important to take care of yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself for your kiddos.
And I talked to you, I think it was yesterday actually. Like Alan came up to me and was just like, he hugged me first and he's like, "Are you okay, mommy?" Because I was crying, and that was the worst because like I don't want to cry in front of my kid. Like
Mhm.
it's not his responsibility. It's not fair to him.
Right.
But then at the same time I'm like, but does he need to see that? Like does he need to know that
Mhm.
that's real life? Um so like listening to you, and I know what you're talking, like I remember that day with you. I remember you being like,
Mhm.
I'm in a funk. I don't know what to do. And you were like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the beach. And then like
Mhm.
you got off the phone, and I heard from you like 5 hours later. Um,
Mhm.
I don't have that, and
Mhm.
I need that. And I admire you for that. I admire you for saying all of that. I don't do that for myself, and I need to. Yeah,
I never did for like Milo's 8 now. Like first this is my first time. This is like first trip. So it's like I also don't do that for myself. I'm just learning to prioritize that and being aware of myself and being aware of like what I can do to center myself. So like for some people it's like getting mani pedis and
I bite my
or
nails, so there's no way.
yeah, or it's going shopping, or it's like obviously there's some
Do you get a
that can
good
get
dopamine hit whenever you buy something? Because I do.
yeah, of course. Who doesn't? Yeah. My bank account is crying right now. Let's just be real.
Your what? Oh, your bank
My bank
account?
account.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My rent came out today for my office, or like we got the
Yeah.
notification. I'm like, ugh. But
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, the
Just
biggest takeaway, like you just said, and I wish we would have touched on that before 41 minutes into this,
mhm.
is taking care of yourself. That's,
Mhm.
you're a mom. Like, I understand moms, like your momming comes first, but
Yeah.
my cup is done. My cup is poured out. I got to refill it.
Mhm.
And I think that's affected a lot of things lately. And I don't know,
Mhm.
do you feel like after you were able to go like fill your cup, like you were like, yes, you said your head was clear, but that you were able to say, okay, this is what I need to do now. Like how, like, is that how you
I think
felt?
yeah, and sometimes I don't. Honestly, like sometimes there's no like there's not a clear next step, and sometimes it's just having a breather and taking the next moment as it comes. I don't like I'd be hard pressed to say that like, oh yeah, it fixed everything and I'm good now. Like no, like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
still moments of um
Everything's good.
am
There's
I
no moment.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, like am I doing the right thing? Is this too much? And um all of that. So figuring out, I think if there's any lesson from this, figuring out how to
Fill your
go into
cup.
therapy. Yeah, like how to fill your cup, go to therapy, get help. Um, if it means like you need a dedicated day just to yourself to like get okay, then do that. Find, a babysitter for the day or
Especially in this business, because we do work 7 days a week.
yeah.
Like, that's hard. Nobody wants to work 7 days a week. Nobody quits
Yeah.
their 9 to 5 to work 7 days a week. And I think finding your middle ground and your center, like, that's the hardest part. I'm in this 2 year, 3 years, and I've never taken time for myself, ever, 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 ever,
Mhm.
ever, ever.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to like take away from this, like, fill your cup. If you're a mom, fill
Mhm.
your cup so you can fill your kid's cup. Because if your cup's not filled, your kid's cup's not filled.
Absolutely.
And I've like, sorry, I had to like, Nicole saw me, but I definitely had to like lean back for a second because I'm over here bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
But um,
No, simply put, like being a parent is hard, just period. Like if you're a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, a entrepreneur mom, what both,
all
all
of them.
whatever, it's no one can say it's easy. No one can say it's not difficult. I think there are absolute pros and cons to being a photo booth owner and a parent. You can see those pros and cons in different ways,
Mhm.
right? Like I see a pro as I can pick my kid up from school every day and he doesn't have to stay in aftercare or have someone else watch him. I can be the one that gets to do homework with him. He gets to see his mom working. He gets to see his mom, pursuing dreams. Like that's amazing. Like what a great example for him, right? So he can also know that he can pursue his dreams. But the take, right, because there's always give and take, is that sometimes it means mom's not there on the weekends and we don't see a lot of each other during the week, or we can't do sports because it's a packed schedule or whatever. Obviously as he grows, like I'm gonna have to navigate that a little bit more, but
We
yeah.
can only do what we can do right now.
Hmm.
So what's your biggest fear with motherhood and working and being an entrepreneur?
I mean, I think it's just his, like I want him to always know that he's always my priority, and like anything that would take from that, right? Like anything that would
Mhm.
take from that, like I don't never want him for a second to think that he's not my everything, right? Um
I know that was a
yeah.
hard question. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is me. I was like him growing up to hate me the way I hate my mom because she wasn't there.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm navigating because I can tell like that's the road I'm going down. Um, because work distracts me from lots of things that's happening in life right now. So I need to figure that out, and that's my goal. Is I really want to get down to a 4-day work week. I need that,
Absolutely.
and he needs that, and he needs his mom, and he needs his mom happy.
Mhm.
Um,
So how can we do that? What does that look like?
for me, I've like today, I plan on writing out what my actual roles are in
Mhm.
my business. Um, and I want to make a calendar, and I know you and I've talked about this, like the first day of the month I want to knock out my content, and then the second
Mhm.
day, etc., and then basically
Mhm.
have every day a to-do list. And of course that changes in small businesses, like it will change and you have to adapt. um but my goal is to like have a pretty consistent schedule so I can be a parent too.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of right now. I really don't know. There's no right answer.
Does it look like, so if you had a 4-day work week, would Alan be home with you on those two, like one day?
That's like I'd probably let him go to school for a half day. I don't know if I told you, but he was so upset with me. I picked him up early from school last week. And he was so upset because he was like, I was playing with my friends. And usually he's like, I don't want to go to school today. I want to hang out with y'all. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to pick him up early. No, I ruined his whole day. um, so I don't know. Like, I
And it
think
would just be a day for you.
either that or with him, like,
Yeah.
I would still want to, like, he's at this age where he loves going to the park and,
Oh, yeah.
going down slides and meeting friends and like just playing with other kids.
Yeah.
Thankfully, like our neighbors have their child in Alan's class. So like if he needs to go like run down to their house, I don't know what that day would look like, but
Mhm.
I would want to spend it with him. But I don't want him to I don't want to force him. If he wants to be at school, let him be at school.
Yeah.
But even for me, like a 4-day work week is what I need. And if that means that he wants to be at school and I go do something for me, cool. If he wants to be with me, cool. Like
Yeah.
I just need a 4-day work week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to you about this, but like I'm looking into like what homeschooling again,
Hmm.
because I used to homeschool Milo. So like, what does homeschooling look like for, and that's something that's a great benefit to this business, is like,
Yeah.
you're the boss, so you can decide, okay, we're going to be homeschooling now, and from this time to this time it's going to be focused on homeschool work, and then this time to this time is going to be actual work. um, there's a lot of flexibility in that way.
I love that you say that because I feel completely different.
Right. I know, because you have an office, you go to work every day, and yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm a slave to my job, and I know that's my fault. Like, I allow no flexibility. If it was up to Matt, like, it would be so flexible. But I'm a workaholic and I need to, like, I've recognized that. I'm working on that through therapy too.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just hard. And I hope somebody takes that away. Like, hey, we see you. It's hard.
Mhm.
Take a break,
Mhm.
sis. Go get your nails done if you don't bite them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is podcast's been all over the place, but I think hopefully hopefully you see our heart in that we're figuring it out as we go. There is no rule book on this is how you run a business and be a mom. There isn't, because every child is different, every family relationship is different. Um, you know, I'm a single parent.
I'm
You're married
navigating
with a,
it.
yeah, yeah. So it's there's so much. Um,
Every dynamic is different, and you have to do what works
yeah,
for you and your family.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And some days it might look differently than other days. Like, I like, I someone asked for me to do like a day in the life, or like of how I manage single parenthood, and I'm like, listen, it looks different every single day. So like, if I show you a day, it's going to look completely different than how tomorrow will look like, because weekends, sometimes he's with his dad, and sometimes he's with my parents, sometimes he's with my brother, sometimes he's with my sister, sometimes he's with a babysitter. Like, you know, I try and navigate the best situation for him. And thankfully he looks forward to going to my parents, and because most of the time my sister drops her children there off too, so he gets to be with his cousins. And so, um,
that's another thing with it is community.
community is so important. Having people around you to help you and support you is huge. I wouldn't be here without it. I wouldn't be able to do this business without it, for sure. Hands down.
And even as a mother though, there's so many times that you feel lonely
Mm-hmm.
without a community. And I don't know if you feel this, but I feel bad sometimes asking people to help. Like,
Mm. Oh yeah.
it's just like it's not their job. I don't know, like, yeah, like
Like,
even
even this friendship, like, we weren't friends like this,
no.
prior to when did we start talking, like,
Okay, so we started talking like a year ago on
online? Yeah.
online, but it was this is how weird I am. It was January 27th
Because
because
that's
we
the
met up
Epcot.
at
Yeah.
Epcot. And it was so,
Yeah.
like, I'm so thankful for that because I remember you messaging me and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I am such an introvert. I can't do it. Um, and we just hit it off. Like, it felt
Yeah.
natural. I hope it felt like that for you.
Totally. You want to know what's so funny? I have a really bad habit of like reading into things far deeper than it is. So like, I remember messaging you and like already planning. I'm like, we're just gonna go to Epcot, and if we don't meet up and she ghosts me, like, whatever, we'll just
Oh,
have a good day at Epcot. And you didn't respond for like an hour and a half or something. But
there
this
was
is
no
because we were at
service.
Epcot.
Yeah,
I know.
there really was
I
no
know.
service inside.
I
Yeah.
know. But I literally was like, oh my God, this girl is not, she doesn't want to be friends with me. She thinks it's weird. You know what I mean? Like, spiraling in my head of like all the things. But no, we totally hit it off.
And even
And
then, though, like, we kind of talked, like, oh, do you want to do this? Oh, and but
mm-hmm,
I think because we are older, like,
mm-hmm.
you and I both went into this of this is what I expect out of this relationship. I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And it was just it worked. And over the last what? 11 weeks, like I'm so thankful for it because you have been
Yeah.
such a community to me, even though we don't live anywhere near each other. Like
Oh, completely.
just having you as a friend has been, I guess, I don't know how to explain it. It's just been it's been something I've been incredibly grateful for because
Same.
community is like not having community is lonely, and community doesn't have to be, your friend in the same state. Community can be like me and you.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like finding somebody who understands, like, even right now, like the journey of being a mom and an entrepreneur is such an entrepreneur in this space of owning a photo booth business. It's such a like niche, like group of people. And so being able to find somebody that you can get along with and have these conversations where we're texting each other late at night, like, I feel like I failed today, like this happened, and this client is whatever, like this has been so hard on me this week, whatever, like just having somebody to connect with in that way. I just hope that, like your group, my Facebook group, like you find somebody there in that community that you can connect with and have someone,
Even
because
deeper than just photo booth though, like you
yeah,
have been my friend through some heavy
yeah,
stuff beyond photo booth, and I hope everybody has a friend like that
yeah,
because you need
yeah,
that in motherhood and entrepreneurship.
absolutely.
But I know we've rambled, and I really hope that this resonated with someone just to know
Hmm.
like you're seen. We get it.
Yeah. Learn how to, find community, figure out what you can do to take care of yourself and what your oxygen mask looks like and can be, and figure out whether that's finding time during the week, every week, that you go get therapy or do something for yourself that brings you joy, fills your cup up so that you can take care of those around you too.
I'm gonna close, like we don't have to close it, but I'm gonna say like one thing that's always stuck with me that you told me is just you have to be the best you.
Mm-hmm.
And like I tell myself that every day, and I'm not the best me every day, but I literally hear you saying like you have to be the best you, like whatever that looks like, you have to be the best you. So
The best version of yourself. Yeah. Like what does it look like? Like what can you do to be the best version of yourself? And having that awareness is difficult to do. Like if I told myself in my 20s, like, what can you do to be the best version of yourself? I'm like, I don't know. Like I just didn't know myself.
that's how I feel.
Then yeah. So it takes time to navigate and figure that out. What brings you joy? Like what sets your heart on fire? Like what can you do, in the next 30 minutes that can kind of center you again? Is it going for a walk? Is it cracking open a book? Is it listening to, uh, murder mystery
Yep,
podcasts? Like,
yep. I listen to those so much. Like
yeah,
literally they
yeah,
put me to sleep. I'm such a
yeah.
weirdo. But
Yeah.
yes,
So,
there's find something because I'm
mhm,
29 today and I still don't really know. And I
yeah.
told Nicole that. I was like,
But
I
today,
can't
like,
wait for my 30s.
yeah, like today you got a Starbucks on your way in, and like, whatever little things in your day you can do to kind of center yourself, bring you joy so that you can bring that to others. Like I think that if we can take anything away, that's
That's it.
yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to close it. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Um, and thank you guys for listening. And next week, I'll be with Nicole on Monday, and it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so great to fill my cup and then come home to my kid in the best way.
Yep. So this is it. This is season 1, One Moment Please podcast finale.
We wanted to do more, but we love this space. Like it's
Mhm.
so great. Um, but we need to fill our cups.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, like, I think with it comes awareness of, okay, like let's look at our life right now. It's kind of feeling XYZ. Like, let's figure out what we need to do to what the next step looks like. And we definitely will come back for season 2. Don't know what that looks like yet. Don't know when that will be, but we will obviously keep you guys posted.
It will still be
Um,
available on both
Absolutely.
Facebook groups and Instagram. Like I plan to be active. Um,
Hmm.
but right now we just need to take a step back and reassess how we want to do this because Nicole and I've
Exactly.
broke ourselves like every Monday we have to do this. So it's
Yeah,
and we love it, but we want to do it better so we can better serve this community.
exactly. Exactly. And so with that, we have to center ourselves and figure out what the best possible way to do that and to continue to do that looks like.
So with that, thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you, thank you, thank you a million times
Yeah.
for being here. And
If this is the first episode you're listening to,
then whoops.
yeah,
Go back to episode
please go
1.
back. Yeah, please go back, listen to episode 1. This is the 11th episode, so there are plenty more for you to get information from. We have pretty much everything that you need to know to get started with your photo booth business there, ready, available for you, and some. It's pretty amazing. Like, I just can't imagine having these resources when we started. Like,
Yeah.
it would it would be so great. So um we feel really honored to be able to provide this for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it and get as much out of it as we have giving it to you. So
And thanks again for listening. And please, like, tune in when we decide to come back. And it's not going to
yeah.
be a long, like, it's not going to, like, Nicole and I are just going to really hone in on this next season because, again, like, I just want to provide a better version.
Hmm.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. No, and I mean, we have like huge plans, like massive plans.
That's why I'm going to
um
Orlando.
yeah, and so it's going to be so great, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys. And happy Mother's Day that's coming
Happy
up.
Mother's Day.
Anyways, we're going to sign off for season 1.
Season 1. Bye-bye.
Bye.